In a mythical land of magic beasts and blades known as Burbank, California, an independent podcast network sets off for the greatest adventure of their pitiful lives. This is Dungeons and Dragon Wagon.
Welcome to Dungeons and Dragon Wagon, the Rhyme or Reason. This is a homebrew role-playing game recorded and released into the world for your entertainment. Once again, I preface the first two episodes. I'll do it again. We're not playing D&D. I know it says it kind of in the title of the show, but we're playing a game inspired by D&D. So if you're a die-harder and you're wondering where some of the rules have gone, this is a homebrew, and we're miffing some of it. We're miffing. That's a word. Miffing. My name is Jake Lloyd. I am the co-founder of Dragon Wagon Radio and host of a fantastical podcast called Elaborate. And I am playing the half-orcan warrior Junk. Say hi, Junk.
Hey, how's it going, Jake? You know, I gotta say, you look really handsome today.
Oh, thanks, Junk. You look, you're looking handsome as well. And my associates in adventure, as always, to my left, she's a friend to the animals, a poet, a writer, and you know what? She's just freaking adorable. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Be sure to follow her on Twitter and Instagram at Alexandra Hoey. It's Alexandra Hoey. Say hi, Alexandra.
Howdy.
How's it going?
It's great.
How you feeling? I know you had a long day at work.
Long day at work, but I have some tea. I'm good to go.
You're stoked now.
So stoked.
Alexandra is playing the human ranger named Adeline. Say hi, Adeline.
Hi.
And to her left, he is the man with no foe. He is as tall as he is sexy. I gotta get something new. I feel like switch it up a little bit
it's
every
time.
It's
always about sexiness or handsomeness.
Yeah. You can follow him on Twitter at Matt_Hinstman and Instagram at mHingstman. It's Matt Hingstman. Say hi, Matt. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm amped, as you can't tell.
Good.
Yeah, good, great.
Give some of that to me.
All right, great. We're off to a good start. Matt is playing the Shadow Elf Rogue, Matson. Say hi, Matson.
Hello.
Ooh, so sultry.
Whoa.
I love Matson. And our guest of Quest this week, she is an actress and improviser. You can follow her on Instagram at nmabry23. Please welcome to the podcast, Noelle Ann Mabry. Hi, Noelle.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
So, Noelle, you are a lifelong D&D player for the most part, you said.
Yeah, for pretty much my entire adult life. Yeah.
Yeah? No, but not so much as a kid? You didn't get into it when you were younger?
I mean, if you count puberty as starting your adult life, then yeah.
Sure, that's fair. I will now hand things off to the man whose world we are all playing in. He is the creator of these lands and the host of a great podcast called Myth Understood on the Dragon Wagon Radio podcast network. Our fearless DM. Follow him on Instagram at the Paul Bianchi. It is the one, the only Paul Bianchi.
Roar!
Oh my God, he came in riding a Yeti.
I came in riding a Yeti.
Crazy.
Actually, I was inspired because I'm watching your dog right now chew on a dragon. This is a true thing that's happening. It is a small stuffed dragon, and it is adorable. It is the most adorable slaying of a dragon I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's Finley.
Yet.
Oh.
You guys could do some adorable dragon slaying perhaps today. Who knows?
Spoilers.
Who knows what's going to happen today?
Who knows, Paul?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are ready, though, as a unit to take on a dragon.
Ooh.
I guess we're going to find out.
How hard could it be?
Yeah, it's not that hard. It is now time for Chapter 2, The Road to Cragshore. And away we go. The road to Cragshore is dotted with a number of scenic, red sand beaches. Dead Crab Cove is one such beach. And as our adventurers are stirred from their slumber, it is evident how the cove received its namesake. Dozens of screeching gulls dive bomb and consume scuttling crabs along the shore, some fighting for their life only to be dropped from a great height to an untimely demise anyway. It would be a captivating display of the harsh reality of nature if not for the overwhelming similarities at play with the death of Kelber Selfin at the lighthouse the night prior.
Aww.
As you pack up your belongings and prepare yourself for the day's journey, you find yourself contemplative concerning what the road ahead might bring.
I'm feeling very contemplative.
Is that so, Adeline?
I am. I'm so vexed.
Oh. Well, one thing I was thinking about is, as a gnome, I can hardly steer a horse of great size. So if I could ride with one of you today, and that would be lovely.
And my horse is, he's very healthy. And I'm sure he could carry both your and my weight.
That rickety old thing looks like I could kick it over myself.
That's rude. Don't talk to come here. He didn't mean that. You're a good horsey.
Well, can I ride with anyone?
You can ride with me.
I can ride with you.
Yes.
All right. You'll hardly notice I'm there.
Great.
I'll mind my old man hands. What about your manservant Idlewild?
Oh, right. He was riding with me. Well, maybe he can ride that one.
Oh, that would be excellent. You have such a unique relationship with that quiet man who's with us.
It's almost like sometimes you forget he even exists.
It's true, but it's, he's just to himself. He doesn't like to be bothered.
I think he's quite strapping. Shall we move on then?
Yes. Yes, I think we should probably all keep going now.
How far is it to Cragshore?
It should take another day and a half's travel.
And I kind of take my hood and I put it over my head more and more, and I'm kind of visibly uncomfortable.
Well, then great. The party packs up their beach encampment, leaving behind all of the deceased crabs that are around. And as you guys make your way towards the road, you find the road that has been traveled between Shell's Landing and Cragshore many, many times. It is a well-beaten path. And as you make your way along, ahead of you, you see a party of 5 or 6. It's sort of hard to tell from your distance right now, but a hodgepodge of people. It's humans and half-elves, and they are facing a petite half-elf woman holding a sort of crooked staff that has a large bird on the tip of it. Well, seems like something unusual is ahead.
Is that a bird on the end of her staff? I'm not a fan of birds.
As you approach, there are 5 people facing this elven woman, and as you get closer, you can start to hear their conversation. It seems like the woman is having words with the man who is sort of leading this band of people, and people who look like they're of low means, poor people. Nora, you don't understand. Nora, you cannot go to Cragshore. There is no more Cragshore.
I have to go see my brother. I have to go check my messages.
Nora, if you go, you will die. Not only will you die if you are there because there's nothing there, but you will also die because there are bandits on the road. They took the other refugees. There is no going this way. I implore you, Nora, do not go to Cragshore.
I understand, and I know you all are concerned for your families, and you all should move on, but I have to go to...
Look, a large beast of a man is approaching us on a sickly, dying horse. I just want to feed it a carrot so it doesn't topple over immediately.
Hey, what's going on here, guys?
Turn back. I'm telling this woman, Nora, she should not go back to Cragshore, and you have no business going this way either.
Why not? That's exactly where we're headed.
Wait, Cragshore? What's wrong?
Oh, there are more of you now. Oh, there's
Adeline rides up.
I slowly follow behind.
There's a beautiful woman here and an adorable little gnome. And what a hot elf of a man. This is incredible. No, you cannot go to Cragshore because it has been destroyed. It has been destroyed. Cabana Stone has been taken by the gnomes. They burned the city to the ground. There is nothing left that should be there. If you really want to help, you all look like you have weapons. If you want to help, you should rescue the other refugees.
Did you say Cragshore has been destroyed? How do you know? Have you been there?
I was there during the destruction of it.
When did this happen?
2 days ago.
Well, so much for that plan, guys.
Yeah. But what about these refugees? What happened? They bandits?
Yes, there were bandits on the road as we were retreating. The cannibal bandits of Illinois.
As in eat other people? Cannibals?
Nora, roll a wisdom check for me.
16.
Nora is very familiar with this band of Illinois. The bandits of Illinois worship the old god Illinois. Illinois is the old god of flesh and blood, and people who worship Illinois believe that the consummation of other living things, especially other sentient life, will result in the ability to do magical things. And when Nora hears this, it makes her deeply concerned.
I want to roll for a sense motive, see if he's telling the truth about Cragshore being destroyed.
Mhm.
2.
Seems good to you.
Well, look, regardless of what you guys want to do, I have to see it for myself, so I'm going.
I think we should join her.
I'm Junk, by the way. Wow, nice to meet you. And I reach my hand out to shake Nora's hand.
Oh, hi, I'm Nora.
What's the name of your festive little bird that you have?
Oh, that's just Ralph. It's my
Ralph.
best friend.
Aw.
Oh, I get it. His name is Ralph because he's a spitting falcon. He spits an acidic vomit, so you called him Ralph because it's like he
I
pukes?
just thought it was a really nice name, but thanks for ruining it.
Well, I thought you were being clever.
Hey, Nora, why is it so important that you head back to Cragshore?
Well, I need to check my messages. I need to make sure everything's been carried out, and my brother is also there.
What do you mean by carried out?
Delivered. That's my job. I deliver messages.
Oh.
It's really important, okay?
No.
Oh, so are you telling us that you're a bird person?
I mean, I guess you could call it that. More of like a bird connoisseur.
Well,
really.
that's actually excellent news, because if you work in the rookery of Cragshore, then we could probably send messages to the other cities along the coast, or see what messages have been received and see what other widespread devastation has occurred.
That's a great idea.
It would be great, but we have to get there first.
Explain to
let's
me what
get
a
moving.
rookery is.
It's where birds that receive and send messages are. Do you not have those in your weird spider lands?
No.
How do you get messages carried?
We have ways.
That's
So
so
ominous.
mysterious.
Wow.
Anyone else get a boner?
God damn it, Orny. You're rather horny. Hey, wait a minute. Horny.
Well, excuse me. Well, as you guys are making friends with each other, my name is Gregor, and it is of utmost importance that you guys rescue the other refugees from these bandits. They're just a little bit up the road, and if you are going to go that way, you might as well save them. May I guide you? May I come?
Absolutely, please.
I can lead you exactly where they are. Is anyone using this horse?
No, please help yourself. Both of you.
Will you share a horse with me, Nora? I know we haven't seen each other for a very long time, but we are both of the Cragshore.
Right. Well, if we get to these bandits and it doesn't look good, I'm going to have to keep going. So it's really...
Oh, this is a healthy horse. This is surprising. All right. So
Alrighty.
Gregor gets on the horse, shares it with Nora, and begins to ride north, leading you guys in the direction of where he last saw the refugees, or he claims to have last seen the refugees. And might I say, just as a DM, you guys are all very trusting towards him right now.
Obviously, I mean,
You let him
what
get on
could
a horse,
possibly-
like in a land where people probably steal horses. But moving on from that, as you head forward, coming up on the right side of the road, you see the beginnings of like these mounted posts. And these mounted posts have heads of people that have been presumably killed by the bandits of Eleanoris, sort of leading up to a modestly sized fortress carved and made out of pine.
Gregor, recognize any of these faces?
I cannot say that they are so covered in viscera that I do not really like to look at them that much.
This is really a bad omen. I don't know if we should stop for these refugees or not. I mean, it's them or us.
Not for nothing, Nora. I know we just met and you seem like a very lovely woman with a lovely bird, but I've seen something like this before. If there are people in there, I'm not going to let them suffer.
I'm with Junk.
I'm always down for a fight.
Yeah, that's the spirit, Matson. And I do continue to approach the fortress.
Adeline does as well.
As you guys approach the fortress, you hear a commotion from inside the fortress. You've definitely been spotted as you arrive. And a man appears sort of on like the top rampart of the fortress, looking down over you. He's like a burly man. He has blood sort of war painted on his cheeks and he's got a big beard. He's a human, and as he sees you, he says, "Ha-ha! More travelers approach. State your name and your business."
Who are you, if you don't mind us asking?
You ride up upon my fortress and immediately ask who I am.
I mean, we're just passing by. What does it matter?
Well, lovely woman who I would like to consume. My name is Bergen. I am the leader of the Eleanor's Bandits.
I'm sorry, who?
Bergen.
So the leader has to come up and greet people?
I didn't come up and greet you. I'm standing far from on top of my ramparts.
You don't have people that can do that for you?
No, those people are actually pointed arrows at all of your heads right now from the sides of the fortress.
Oh, really?
Yes, they are.
If possible, I'd like to see if I can start to kind of slink away from my horse and maybe slink away from the party. Do some sneaking.
You would have to
Sneaking.
roll very, very well, but let's see.
Okay. 17.
Ooh.
17. So, Matson does sort of the unthinkable here. Bergen was not bluffing. He has archers trained on all of you guys, and somehow Matson hops off the horse. None of the archers who are trained on the entire adventuring party notice that Matson does this, and he sort of sneaks off into the bushes and is now one with the trees.
I'm very sneaky.
Well, like I was saying, travelers, unless you have business here, I would encourage you to move along because we already have enough snacks for the day.
See, that's our problem. What exactly are these snacks?
Why, are you not familiar with the great divine god Eleanorus?
You eat people, right? You eat people.
We consume the flesh of our fellow man. It gives us strength. It grants us dexterity.
Yada, 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 poetry. You eat people.
Yes, we eat people.
Yeah, we are not going to be able to let you do that.
You and what army? Really? I count 5 of you.
I might regret this.
Good start.
So Junk looks back at Matson's now empty horse and goes, looks to the fortress. And then he smacks the empty horse and goes, "Yeah!" in hopes that it runs towards the fortress and creates some sort of chaos.
Roll a clumsy check as you do that.
Oh, no. Maybe I should have done this.
17.
17. He smacks the back of Matson's horse, and the horse gallops directly towards the fortress. There's like sort of a small, very rickety gate in front of the fortress that the horse just sort of breaks through. And as this happens, I need all of you to roll for initiative.
Junk's luck is turning around. That's an 18.
14 for Adeline.
12 for Matson.
4 + 1 for Nora.
I think I'm seeing this happening from the bushes. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Junk, you did roll a very high initiative, but unfortunately there was an archer trained on you. So an arrow whizzes by your head, and now it is your turn to act.
So I guess I just want to use my turn to try to get into the fortress walls
Sure.
to survey the land.
Sure.
12.
So you ride into the fortress, and when you ride into the fortress, you see that there are actually only 2 bandit members that are on either side of you once you enter the fortress. And one of them is guarding over a corralled pool of refugees locked in a bit of a flimsy cage, but still enough that like poor people who are not warriors are not strong enough to actually knock through, but like one feasibly could. The other guy is to the left, and he's got a giant warhammer, and he looks like the big bruiser of this team, and he is not looking happy as you ride in. So after your turn, it is Archer that is trained on Adeline. That Archer misses you as well.
Yay!
So the arrow whizzes by your head. Another Archer, though, turns around, fires their arrow. The arrow whizzes into you and strikes you right in the thigh. Hits you, critical hit though, only hits you for 2 points because it's just they're using an old bow. And it's going to be painful to remove, but it's not going to cause any lasting damage to you, thank goodness.
Great.
There is a 4th archer on the outside. They aim for Nora. They strike for 4 points of damage just right at Nora right away. And she is not happy to receive this shot. That's a pretty good shot, just like right in her shoulder. She's got these like shoulder pauldrons on, and it sort of just like wedges right between the two plates.
Ouch.
So you can see that the bandits of Illinoris wear a very distinctive shade of blood orange in their armor. And you can sort of see all of their shoulder plates sort of poking out from beyond the trees. So you have a clear shot of any of the 4 archers that you would like right now. But now it is Adeline's turn to figure out what to do.
I'm going to aim for the first archer that tried to attack Junk.
All right.
18?
18.
3.
Adeline shoots at the archer that shot at Junk, and when her arrow whizzes through the bush, it lands deep in the guy's rib cage.
Yes.
And it's sort of, you hear a wheeze coming from the bushes, and he goes down to one knee. Right after this happens, you see that Bergen, he is yelling, "Bandits, gather your strength. We feasted earlier, and today we will have the strength of all the men we consumed. With me!" And all of them sort of do a war cry together. And then he pulls out a... do you guys know what a Chris is?
Like a Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah,
or?
Chris Evans, Chris Pine.
Yeah.
It's like a good-looking white actor in 2018.
He pulls out a curvy sword. A rippling
That's
curvy
also what
sword.
Chris's have.
He pulls out his Chris, and he starts running down the stairs inside the fortress. So Junk has a third enemy encroaching upon him in this moment.
Good thing we're all separated.
Yeah, good thing. Next, it is Orny's turn to attack. Orny withdraws a flask from his bandolier, and he throws a sleep potion upon the 2 archers on the left side of the field, which is an area effect. It strikes both of these archers and puts them immediately to sleep. So we have 2 sleeping archers on the left side of our field.
Way to go, Orny.
Nice.
It is time for Matson to attack. Or do whatever he would like to do.
I'm still kind of in the bushes and everything, right?
Yeah, no
Taking
one.
a leak.
Oh, shit. I'm looking at the fortress. Is there like an area I can reach against a wall where I won't be seen by archers on the ramparts?
Matson is on the right side of the fortress. And give me a roll for perception.
8.
You notice that on the right side of the fortress, there is actually a small door.
Fantastic.
Would you like to run up to the door?
Yes, I would. Maybe not in a sprint, but in a quick, quiet jog.
Give me another roll for stealth as you do this.
I roll 7 and a +3 for my stealth.
That's enough to sneak by 2 very busy archers who are out, very distracted archers who are there in the bush. And as you sneak past them, you approach this sort of iron door that is sort of repurposed for the sake of this fortress.
First, I'll just try to see if it's open.
You try the handle, it is locked.
Yeah.
You can attempt to pick it, but that'll be the end of your turn.
Yes, I will attempt to pick this door. 3 + 2 for dexterity.
All right, your whatever you were using, I think you have a few lock picks, but it ends up breaking off in the lock.
Yeah.
And that is the end of your turn.
Thanks for helping out.
Within the fortress, there is an additional character who is getting a turn. One of the women who has been captured by the bandits.
Oh, God.
And she has found a jagged piece of metal that she has been concealing up until this moment.
Yeah.
So this woman lodges her piece of metal right in the shoulder blade, just sort of enough that it's incredibly painful, but not anything that causes any significant lasting damage. And he turns around just very at this as this occurs. So
That's the fighting spirit.
yeah. And now it is finally Nora's turn to decide what she's going to do in this moment.
I'd like to raise my staff to release Ralph
Okay.
for a nice acid splash all over the vicinity of the tree line.
Okay.
20.
Oh, so you get a critical hit with Ralph, and let's see how much damage he does.
5.
5.
Nice.
Ralph is
Woo!
Agent
So,
Orange breath.
So at this, Ralph flies up in the air and sort of flies along the edge of the tree line, emitting an acidic spray from his beak. It is yellow, it is stinky, and it burns through the leaves as it sort of rains down upon these archers and murders all 4 of the archers that are in the tree lines. Just like burying like holes like right through their helmets and like just sort of bleeding into their skulls, and just like they are all dead.
Matson sees this, and I think he almost has a panic attack, and he's like, this is my fucking nightmare. Matson does not like birds if you're starting to put this together.
We'll put it together.
Yeah.
Nora, my girl, that's awesome.
There are 3 more seen bandits whose now it's turn to attack. Is the guy with the giant warhammer who was waiting for Junk as he entered the fortress. That guy takes a swing with his warhammer at Junk as he approaches, hits him for 4 damage, knocking you right off the horse. This is a very visceral scrap. It's sort of muddy on the floor of the fort, and when you get knocked off, you're all like covered in mud. It's like a sexy mud fight scene, except it's with 2 like burly guys.
So I'm gonna pick myself up off of this mud. I'm gonna like wipe it across my face, real angry and scary looking at this dude. I'm gonna reach for my warhammer, and I am going to lunge at this fellow brute with all of my might and strength. That's a 12. 5.
12 for 5. You make contact with the guy. It knocks into his ribcage, and he just sort of goes with your swing, sort of sideways, like as if he's doing like a dance pose in midair, before he like swings over to the side, which knocks him towards Bergen as Bergen is coming down the stairs.
Nice.
And Bergen sort of sees this happen and this guy fall to the ground in front of him and just goes, useless, as he as he's walking down the stairs. It is now Adeline's turn to attack, though.
Now that everyone has been Ralphed on, I guess I'll make my way in. Do I need to roll for that to get in?
No.
Okay, so I just make my way in, and I'm seeing what's happening. And
yeah, as you enter, the closest, I mean, Bergen and the guy that Junk is fighting are the closest.
Okay.
As you enter.
Yeah, so I guess I'm going to aim for Warhammer as he's down.
Okay.
So 6 and then 6.
So because he's down, you don't have any trouble striking him. The guy with the warhammer is just starting to get up. He makes eye contact with Junk, but your arrow just sort of goes sideways through his face.
Yes.
You know those novelty hats
Yes.
with the arrow through his head?
Yes.
Like, it just sort of does that to him. And he just like, Junk gets to see firsthand the light leave this guy's eyes because he was making eye contact with him.
Ooh.
And then he falls over to his side and like buries the tip of your arrow like into the ground. Again, this is another, I think I did this
Yeah,
before.
this happened last time.
Yeah,
We could
yeah, you could use him
draw a perfect circle.
to draw a perfect circle if you spun him now on his side. So this happens a lot. Now it is time for the jailer to attack the jailer who was stabbed earlier by the woman in the enclosure. He's very miffed about that, but he has this whip. And he withdraws his whip.
Whoa.
And he sees Junk and sort of runs at him. And he just runs past him. he attempts to withdraw his whip and do something really cool, but he just goes, ah! And like maybe it's because he got stabbed in the shoulder blade, but he like can't quite get his whip to whip, and he just sort of runs past him and like slides across the mud to the other side of him and is like, haha, I meant to do that. Bergen gives another useless. It's like it's his catchphrase. He like is always calling his men useless. And as Bergen is closest now to Adeline and Orny on the horse, he does this attack that feels very bizarre. He ends up walking over to the man that just died and stabs him through the heart. And when this happens, this blood red color gradates up through his sword, powering him up, and he unleashes this burst of red, sort of electric-looking energy. And it looks real cool, but it actually only ends up taking 1 damage for everyone who's in the radius, which is Adeline, Orny, and Junk. Sort of jolts. And
Did you just hurt me with light?
And the pain that you feel sort of gives you this like deep feeling of like wrongness. But it is Orny's turn to attack. Orny is close enough on his horse that he's actually going to try to strike him with his Earthstone cudgel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Orny takes a wide swing and falls off the horse. Perhaps he was a little bit more struck by the electric power than he thought he was. But he just sort of like gets up and like the mud's all stuck to his glasses and he's just like wiping it off like, oh my. And it is finally Matson's turn to figure out what the fuck to do.
Hey, Adeline, where's Matson?
I don't know.
I'm just going, no, first I would like to roll to see how badly seeing that bird ralphing everywhere affected me. 15?
So you are shaken, but not stirred. I think that the task at hand is more important to you than the fear of the bird.
Okay.
However, you will have nightmares about it tonight.
Right, okay. All right, well, I gather myself after seeing that. I take a look at the door that has the lock with my broken lockpick, and I think, and I bang on the door 3 times.
So when you bang on the door 3 times, you actually notice how rusty the door is, and the door starts to sort of give way. Would you like to attempt to knock it down?
I would. 13.
So you take a step back, and you kick at the door, and when you do that, the door falls off of its hinges. It seemed like where it was locked was actually stronger than the hinges. And when you look inside the fortress, you just see sort of the chaos that's been ensuing without you. And you're like, oh, okay. You are closest to the spot where the people are jailed on the left. And in front of you, you see Junk facing the guy with the whip and Bergen with the Chris to the left. But that's sort of the end of your turn. Technically, it is the woman inside the cage's turn right now, but she has no weapon on her anymore. She just sort of turns and sees Matson as she enters, and she begins to say, like, help me. But you see the words sort of end once she notices that you're a shadow elf, and instead you see fear on her face. Like, oh, this might actually be worse. So she stays quiet. Now it is Nora's turn to figure out what she wants to do.
I'm going to attempt to do a graceful backflip off of my horse.
Okay, I like it.
Ooh, I like
11 plus 2.
So you don't quite stick the landing, but it is very impressive nonetheless. Unfortunately, there is no one around to see you do it, except for Gregor, who was like, "Oh, that was very impressive."
Right.
I mean, the horse enjoyed it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I do it for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I run in, I see the cage, and I go towards it and try to open it.
Okay, and that's about the length of your turn there. Now it's Junk's turn.
I'm going to get up, look over to Adeline. This all happened so quickly, I assume. So I literally just watched this dude get shot, and then I got struck with electricity. I'm going to give her a nod of like, good job shooting that guy in the face for me. And then I am going to lunge with all of my might at Bergen.
Okay.
Who is, I'm assuming, still close enough to me since he just is essentially standing over me in a way.
Yeah.
That's a 9 for 2.
Bergen takes only 1 hit of damage as your weapon glances off of his shoulder plate. He snarls and spits at you after this happens for 0 damage. Just rudeness. Haha. As it happens.
Oh, come on, man. That's just disgusting.
Now it's Adeline's turn to attack.
the whip guy's still around, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right.
I forgot about the whip guy.
Yeah, whip it good. So Adeline raises her bow and aims to do the exact same thing to the whip guy. Okay, that's 14 and 3.
The guy with the whip is impaled by your arrow right through his midsection, and just like the guy that you shot earlier in the battle, he also goes down to one knee, clutching his wound. He has now been stabbed in the back, and he has an arrow sticking out of his stomach. So he's not
voodoo doll.
He's not a happy camper. And he stands up on shaky legs and tries to wield his whip again in revenge at Adeline. He cracks his whip, but he just misses you and instead hits your horse and cracks the horse right in the face.
You son of a bitch!
And the horse responds by bucking you off.
Oof.
But for 0 damage. It is now Bergen's turn to act again, and Bergen, after taking that blow from Junk, strikes at him with his Chris. Bergen rolls a natural 20. He gives you a very strong cleave across the shoulder and cuts into your flesh for a hefty 4 damage.
Oh.
Oh, you're going to pay for that.
Junk feels the sword just like against bone, and just like it's that sickening feeling of like, ooh, that went too far. It is Orny's turn. He still has his cudgel. He is close enough to strike with it, and he is determined to make a hit with it. Orny also rolls a natural 20.
Yeah.
And he emits a war cry, ha cha cha cha, and strikes Bergen from behind for an amazing 12 damage with his
Wow.
Earthstone cudgel. Breaks like several of Bergen's vertebrae through his armor, and he falls to his hands and his knees, gasping at the sheer strength of this old gnome just sort of knocked him down. Now it is Matson's turn.
So I run in and I make my way for the cage.
So you're right next to Nora then.
Is there a bird next to her? Or is Ralph flying around right now?
Always.
Ralph always returns to Nora's side, so he is on the end of her staff, probably right over your head if you choose to do this.
All right, then I don't do that. I make my way for Bergen.
Bergen is on his hands and knees. He is very prone, so your attack will do double damage right now because he is not facing you. He doesn't expect an attack from you.
I'm going to attack. 13 for 3 and 3.
Everyone's surprised to see you. They don't know
Where
where
was
you
he?
went.
Matson, where were you?
You bring both your arms high in the air and then bring both blades down like a guillotine to sever, but they don't quite meet in the middle. So it just sort of like his head just sort of dangles off by a thread for a moment before it actually drips and falls off of his body.
Ha! Eat a dick.
Oh, I get it. You guys get it because he's accountable.
The guy holding the whip is like, fuck that. Okay, you guys win. I'll be on my way then. I'll be on my way. And the whip guy starts to wander out. But it is Nora's turn next, and if Nora wants to stop him from leaving, it's the ball is in her court.
Well, since all the refugees are safe now, I guess I could attack him with Ralph.
Yeah,
Some acid in his face,
okay.
hopefully. 12, 5 damage.
Ralph doesn't even bother getting off of your stick. He just sort of purely projectile vomits a little spitball of acid into the back of the guy's head as he's like wandering away, and you just see him fall unceremoniously down to his knees, and he's crumpled on the ground right in front of the fortress. Everyone who's being held captive emits like a cheer for being released, but also it's combined with like a groan for how bloody and gory everything was.
You're welcome.
And as you guys celebrate, Gregor also joins you, leading the horse in. Oh, they're all dead. Thank you so much for murdering these terrible bandits. This is excellent.
I wasn't expecting you to be out there with the horse when we got back out, so this is actually a surprise.
Oh no! I want all of these men dead. That is excellent. Here, let me help free these prisoners. And Gregor starts to walk over and starts to walk over to the cage and tries his best to undo the bindings of the cage, but he's also not very strong. So, like, if anyone wants to help him, that'd be nice.
Junk.
It's not me. I'm severely traumatized after seeing Ralph do his thing a second time.
Junk's in a lot of pain. How about Idlewild goes over and helps him?
Oh yeah, so Idlewild, the combined strength of Idlewild and Gregor opens the cage. The people are all very happy. A lot of them don't actually speak common tongue, you discover. They seem to be people who maybe lived in Cragshore that were sort of new to the area, that brought their culture from Far East. And they sort of nod and sing your praises and look very grateful. The woman who was in the cage stops by the adventurers that are gathered and says, "Thank you so much for freeing us. I was terrified that we were going to be eaten by these brutal cannibals. If it's all right with you, I would love to implore you for one more favor, if it's not too much of a burden.
What is it? What can we do?
To escape these turbulent times, we were planning on traveling east to the Softlands, and we have nothing in our possession. Everything that we had was destroyed in the destruction of Cragshore, and we will have to trade with the elves that are there living in the Softlands to have any semblance of a good life. Do you have anything worthy of trade that you'd be willing to give to us? I just fear we're leaving one bad predicament for another."
I slowly reach into my pocket and I feel the turquoise gem that I took from the lighthouse, and I just kind of palm it in my hand, and I think about it for a second, then I continue standing normally by myself.
Come here. I call her over, and I'm like, I don't really move to her because I have like a gaping flesh wound in my shoulder I'm still kind of holding. I saw what you did from in the cage, and that took a lot of guts. And I like reach into my gold thing, and I'm going to give her 100 gold pieces, and then I'm going to reach over and I'm going to grab Kelber Selfin's short flail that I took from his lifeless body. And I saw that rinky piece of steel you were using as a weapon. Here, maybe this will better suit you. And I hand her that.
She graciously accepts your gifts, and when she's handed the flail, gives you the look of, like, in real life, if you were handed a flail, like, like, how long will it take me to master this dangerous weapon? But like,
Junk doesn't understand that. He doesn't get that at all.
But she gives a smile nonetheless, and then she gestures with her finger for Junk to bend down a little bit to her level.
Oh, okay. And so I bend down.
And she gives you a kiss on the cheek.
Aww.
Oh, thanks.
Gross.
As the captured refugees are leaving, you also notice that Gregor is still within the fortress, and he seems to be rummaging around for something in the corner.
I'm gonna roll sense motive. 17.
When Monson looks at Gregor as he's rummaging, he senses an undeniable frantic guilt, which is a very strange thing to expect from Gregor, who has been, albeit mysterious, but also seems to genuinely want to help people at this point.
I start walking out over there and I yell out, Gregor, what are you doing out there?
I am looking for something that I'm looking for a manifest.
A manifest?
Yes. Just please leave me alone. I must find this just for myself.
I turn to Nora. Nora, what is he doing?
Gregor, you seem to have known a lot about these people before we got here.
Yes. I guess there's no sense in lying about it now. I was once a bandit with the Illinoris, but I was born into it, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And one day, as we were about to stick a spoon in an elderly merchant, I thought, why are we eating this man? No one else experienced the power that Bergen did. So I left, and when we were attacked as we were leaving Cragshore, they let me go because they remembered me. They let me go with my family, and I just wanted to find the manifest that had my name on the list of clan members so that no one would ever know what I did.
I want to see to roll if he's telling the truth. Roll another sense motive. 9.
You get the sense that, by and large, he's telling the truth. There might have been some details that he's leaving out to protect himself, but overall, you believe him.
I step back in defense mode and send Ralph as close to him as possibly can be without touching him.
So Ralph just sort of hops over, and he's standing beneath the eaves of the left side of the fort, and Ralph just sort of looms over him like Batman, like in the shadow, like with his mouth sort of open, like, I'm going to drizzle acid spit on you, if he could speak. Please, I just want to live a normal life.
What makes you better than all these other pathetic cannibals?
That I decided to change. I no longer eat humans. I'm actually a vegetarian. I like kale.
Oh.
Yeah, I bet. I step back and attack him with Ralph.
Oh!
And I get a 2.
Ralph, who is looming over him like Batman, attempts to vomit on him, but instead, you just made him vomit twice in a row, and he ends up going, and just like nothing comes out, and he looks back at you with sort of a sadness in his eyes, like, I'm sorry, Mom. I don't have any left at the moment.
We'll talk about this later.
Hey, what's going on over here? Why did this bird just try to puke on this poor man?
I can only assume it was to make me urinate in my trousers, which is exactly what occurred.
All right. Everyone, let's just calm down.
So we kill all the cannibals, but we leave one alive?
I am no longer cannibal. Here,
Wait, you were a cannibal?
at one time.
There's a big conversation you
Sorry,
just missed.
John, catching you up. He was a former cannibal. Not anymore.
Now, please, may I be on my way? My family is waiting for me.
Of course, sir. You should go with your family.
Yeah, Nora, while I appreciate you and your murder bird's conviction, the man simply wants to live a good life, and just because he was born into something evil doesn't mean that he hasn't the right to change.
And how is your killing him going to make you any better than the cannibals he's running from? And sir, I promise we'll find that manifest and we'll destroy it for you. Now go, be with your family.
Yeah, we all have things inside of us we're working to fight off. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a really sliced up shoulder and shit is it sore. So can we scram from this sad stronghold?
Junk, yeah, that looks awful. I wonder if there's anything around here that we can use to help.
So yeah, there is one more door that is left to be opened. There is a keep within the fortress around the fort yard. There isn't really much to speak of. It's mostly fencing and barrels of collected rainwater. There's a table for chopping up humans with a chopped up human on it. It is just a gross, dirty old place.
There's a door over there. Matson, why don't you try breaking in or we can just see if it's
great success
unlocked.
last time. I will. So I go over to the door and I try the handle.
You try the handle and it is also locked.
Everybody look around for a key.
So Adeline checks on Bergen.
Checking on Bergen's person, you don't find a ring of keys, but you do find a very interesting ornate ring on his finger.
So Adeline takes that.
It is gold and has a red stone on it.
Junk is going to walk over to the jailer that had the whip. I'm going to check his body.
On the jailer's body, you find his whip and, lo and behold, a ring of keys.
I'm going to take his whip and his keys.
Okay.
Hey, guys. So I'm going to take the keys and I'm going to throw them over to Matson, who's still standing by the door.
Yeah, but you're going to roll for a clumsy check first.
Perfect. Critical fail.
So you end up actually throwing the keys over the wall, and it is now on the other side of the fort.
Sorry.
Great job, John.
I begrudgingly send Ralph over to get them.
Ralph, now eager to please you after failing to barf on command, returns with the keys in his hand, gets way too close to Matson to drop the keys in his hand.
Yep, and I back away. I got my hands in the air. I walk anywhere else.
Matson, are you afraid of Ralph?
Look at that thing.
He's
Did you
just
see what it did?
He's just a sweet bird. He saved
Sweet
us.
bird, sweet
Yeah.
murderous bird. It killed everyone.
Actually,
more
Ralph,
than all of us
He
combined.
can't help it.
Ralph really likes you. I can tell.
Aww.
Yeah, he likes you, Monson.
That's great. He can open the door then.
Oh, God damn it. So I'm going to walk over and pick the keys up. And how many keys are on there?
There's just one.
Okay, perfect. And I'm just going to use the key to open the door.
Yeah, the key opens the door without a problem. Inside, you find what could only be presumed to be Bergen's room. There is a cot on the left side with a red quilt. And on the right, there is a desk that has a small lockbox and a painted portrait leaned up against the wall.
All right, so I'm going to walk inside this room and get a closer look at the lockbox/portrait area.
Adeline comes in as well.
It's bright enough inside that you don't really need to roll to discover these things. As you get closer, you find that someone had painted a portrait of Bergen consuming human flesh. He's like got a shit-eating grin on his face and like a thumbs up as he's like tearing into a human. It's a well done portrait for what it's worth.
Junk like picks the portrait up, looks over, shows it to Adeline. I mean, not for nothing, but these brushstrokes are lovely. And then I just rip it in half.
Kelvor Orny is sort of like, that was good art as that happens. The lockbox itself is sort of a small painted blue wooden box that doesn't even have a lock on it. It has just one of those like hook latches in the front of it.
I want to pop it open, see what's in it.
As you pop it open, you find there is a rolled up scroll on the inside.
I'm going to reach for the scroll and go to grab it.
Right when you pick up the scroll, you feel a strange presence. There is a flash in front of your eyes of this sort of bestial, red, glowing, ghostly figure. As that happens, the ghostly presence that has attached itself to Matson also rushes out of his body and pushes this ghostly presence out through the wall, and you don't really feel anything from the scroll anymore.
That wasn't weird.
You guys saw that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One day we're really going to have a long talk about this
Yo,
thing that
what
keeps
is this?
happening, Watson.
Ghost.
What was your ghost?
You know what? Fair point.
Can we open this, please?
Yeah, so I'm going to roll the scroll open.
When you roll the scroll open, you see that it is written in a language that you are not acquainted with in any regard.
It's written in pictures.
Let me take a look.
And I'm going to hand it over to Matson.
Look at it. And
Matson, give me a wisdom check.
20.
Natural.
Natural
Sweet.
20.
So you cannot read this language, however, you know exactly what it is. It is the universally
is.
known language of magic that you have to be sort of a practicing magician in order to read. It is an interesting language because if you are stripped of magic or no longer can use magic, you can also no longer read the language. You must be attuned into magic to read it.
I know what this is. And I go over to Kelber, Orny, and I hand it to them. Tell them what it is.
Oh, I have mud on my spectacles right now, but it appears to be written in the language of the arcane. As a practicing alchemist, I cannot read it, but perhaps we'll encounter someone who can.
Take it back from him, and I roll it up, and I put it in my pocket.
I see you're just taking things that other people find now. That's exciting.
Junk didn't even know what it was.
Look, guys, this has all been fun, but I need to get back to my village.
Oh, of course, Nora. We want to go with you and keep you company. We'd love to get to that rookery as soon as possible so that we can get our messages out and hopefully acquire some aid.
I would really appreciate the company, but either way, I'm going.
Junk exits this small room back towards the horse. Are all the horses seemingly okay despite...
Yeah.
Okay. So I walk over to my incredibly healthy horse, as everybody knows. Hey, buddy. You doing all right? Yeah, you're a good little horsey. And I'm going to survey the land and the chaos and the blood and decimated humanity and shake my head and get on.
I walk past Bergen's body, and then I stop and turn back and look at him. And then I see that sword, and I remember the magic that it held. And I walk over, and I slowly grab it and make sure it doesn't do anything to me first.
When you pick it up, it seems inert.
Okay. And I put it in my possession.
And I just walk over to my horse, kind of brush myself off a bit, especially my ass since I fell into the mud.
Oh, I can help you with that.
Is this
That's okay. Thanks. And I hop on my horse.
Junk?
Yeah?
A lot of bad shit went down here. What do
Yeah.
you think about burning this place to the ground before we leave?
I think that's a great idea. To be honest with you, I know what it's like to come across something like this after it's happened, and to burn it down is probably the kindest thing that we could do.
I'd really like to leave before you guys burn it down.
I mean, we're going to exit before we burn it down. Like, we're going to...
We'll catch up.
Yeah, sure. So I pull one of the torches out that I have, light it up, and I'm just going to chuck it back behind me into the room that we just exited and ride out to the road.
So despite the muddy courtyard, the bandit fortress is dry enough wood to take flame. And as you ride out to the road, the fire and smoke shoots upwards to the sky. Tomorrow, there will remain only a charred memory of the bandits of Illinoris.
As it burns, I just kind of look over to Junk, and I just kind of give him a little nod.
Junk nods back and sort of looks over to the rest of the group and looks to the fire.
Well, isn't this nice?
Well, damn, we did some murdering and some killing of some cannibals.
Mix things up a little bit this time.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Not for nothing, but we were kind of badasses this time. I
Yeah.
feel like our party is really sort of finding its
It's
footing.
groove.
Yeah.
And killing people that deserve it instead of just...
Well,
Sometimes not so much.
I mean,
I would like to reward all of you for murdering Bergen and his merry band of cannibals with 250 experience points.
All right.
Ooh,
oh, wait a minute. I got to do
rolling
math
in the
now.
points. 685.
Noelle, thank you so much for joining us in
Yeah, it was fun.
in this venture. Man, I wish I had a acid puking bird pet.
Right?
That
I
just
know,
did
he's
all my-
pretty dope.
Sounds so great.
I mean, drone warfare, it's everything these days.
Yeah.
For more backstory, character photos, art, maps, and more, check out dndwpod.com and make sure you're following us on all social media platforms at dndwpod. And please leave a rating and review on iTunes. It's super easy, and doing so automatically enters you to win a free 1-month subscription to Gamebox Monthly. That's one free tabletop game. Make sure you're leaving a review right now. It's so easy. In addition, if you are enjoying this podcast or any other podcast on the Dragon Wagon Radio podcast network, I urge you to consider showing your support. If you visit www.dragonwagonradio.com/support, there are a wide variety of ways that you can do so. You can donate something directly via an Amazon wish list. A super easy one-click button right there brings you right to an Amazon wish list. There are things on that wish list, big and small, both expensive and inexpensive. That way you know exactly what it is you're getting and you send it right here to the Dragon's Den. Another way is by donating directly. There is a one-click option to donate via PayPal. Whatever you can give, we will gladly take. Alexandra, say goodbye to the people.
So long, everybody.
Matthew, say goodbye to the people.
Peace.
Noelle, say goodbye to the people.
Abiento.
And our fearless dungeon master, Paul Bianchi, say goodbye to the people.
Tschüss.
We will see you next quest.
Dragon Wagon